welcome back to Constellation Station. I'm Nicole from the Cincinnati Observatory, and today we're talking about a really special constellation. Our constellation today follows with the other constellations that we've been talking about the last couple of weeks. So today we are going to focus on Andromeda, and some of you may be familiar with Andromeda. You may have heard of this name before, and it's famous for a couple reasons. It's a figure in Greek mythology, which we talk about a lot on this show with constellations, but it is also the name of our closest galaxy. The Andromeda galaxy is a pretty famous galaxy because it's really close to us, and scientists even think one day that our two galaxies are going to merge together. So here I have a couple of things to help us figure out what our constellation is today and how to use our imagination to picture Andromeda as a beautiful princess. We've already talked about the king and queen of Ethiopia back in ancient Greece, and now we're going to talk about our princess. So this is Princess Andromeda. I have a crown up here again to remind us that this is a princess. And then I have a sort of weird shape of stars over here. I just taped a bunch of stars on our constellation station today to represent the Andromeda galaxy. And I wanted to put a bunch of stars together instead of putting up a really pretty spiral shape that we sometimes see galaxies as, because I wanted us to remember that a galaxy is basically a whole bunch of stars. It's billions and billions of stars all in one place, just like we have a lot of stars in the Milky Way. So Andromeda is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stars on my constellation station, but really it's many, many more than that. So this is our Andromeda galaxy, and then we're going to want to focus on these stars right here. So all of these stars are going to be a part of our Andromeda constellation today, and I chose to use these particular stars, but know that some scientists, some astronomers, they use more than just these stars to talk about Andromeda, because Andromeda is just at a kind of weird part of the sky to where sometimes people actually use Andromeda the galaxy as a part of this constellation, or other stars that are a little bit more faint. So if you want to find this constellation, these are really going to be the important stars for you to see from here in Cincinnati. So let's go ahead and start connecting our dots. Today we're going to use kind of a fun thing to connect our dots, another sweet snack. Today we're going to use a fruit by the foot. So our fruit by the foot is another one of our fan requests to be able to connect the dots. So here I have a fruit by the foot that we're going to use to connect our dots here. I'm going to keep our paper on the back of our fruit by the foot to make it easier to tape onto our constellation. We'll start here with this star here, and we're going to trace a whole line up to our crown up here. By the foot's a little bit heavier than some of our other things we've used to connect our dots here, so we may need a couple extra pieces of tape today. And we're going to start on another roll. So I really like using sweet snacks sometimes because it kind of reminds us that we can connect the dots of our constellation basically however we want. Sometimes we use sort of creative supplies, like here we're using this fruit by the foot. We've used goldfish, we've used Twizzlers, and these are all things that you may have at home already, and you don't have to go out and buy or try to find things that you don't normally have around the house. The only thing is you can maybe eat this afterwards, but you might not want to, so you have to be willing to sacrifice some of your snacks in the name of astronomy and constellations. So here we have one line of a constellation here, and then next we're going to connect this other line here. So these are the stars you'll be able to see to find our constellation up in the night sky using Andromeda, and then I want you to also picture our Cassiopeia constellation to be right about here in the sky. So it's going to be a little bit more north and a little bit more west than this constellation. And then you can also see our other Cepheus constellation even further to the left in the sky. Just a little bit of extra tape and a little bit of extra fruit by the foot. Another way that I could have used fruit by the foot if I wanted to is it does break into 2 different strands. So if you have other ways that you want to use fruit by the foot, or maybe other colors, other patterns of constellations that you can make, definitely share your fun constellation creations with us. We'll fix that after we're done connecting all of our other dots. Today I'm using masking tape to attach our fruit by the foot. You could also use pins, just like we use the Twizzlers, especially if you wanted to take off the backing of the fruit by the foot. Then you could use pins, like sewing pins or safety pins. And let's go back and we'll fix our fruit by the foot over here. There we go. So now we have Andromeda going across the sky, kind of on her side, just like her mom Cassiopeia was, and Cepheus, of course, being a kind of crazy looking house shape. So this is the end of our at least royalty part of this story. I don't know if you remember, if you think back to our story of Cepheus and of Cassiopeia, but Andromeda is the one that suffered the consequences of that story the most. And here's a little bit of a reminder. So Cepheus was punished by something that his wife said. Cassiopeia said that she was the most beautiful person ever, including all of the gods and all of the mythology at the time that pointed at different gods. And so the gods were really upset by that. And they started to punish Cepheus. And the only way that Cepheus could end his punishment is by sacrificing his daughter Andromeda to the sea. And so he became really terrified. He didn't know what to do because he didn't want to be punished anymore by the gods, but he really loved his daughter. And so his daughter was actually set to be sacrificed to a sea monster. And we'll learn a little bit more about this story and what happens next in our story the next time that we meet and talk about another constellation. For now, I want to tell you where you can find this constellation up in the night sky. It's starting to get dark out a little bit earlier, so you can actually go out around 8:30 and find our constellation out in the night sky. It's going to be pretty close to the horizon, and it's going to be in the northeastern sky. Remember, you can find the Andromeda galaxy, or you can find right over to the left and a little bit up in the sky, you can find Cassiopeia, and those can be your markers to help find Andromeda in the night sky. Good luck finding Andromeda, and show us any of your creations that you've made for your constellation. Just tag us on Facebook or Instagram, #ConstellationStation. We'll see you guys next time.